Uh, my name is Ademola Adenle. I'm currently a visiting scholar at School of Global Environmental Sustainability at Colorado State University. I'm going to be talking about a new book titled Genetically Modified Organisms in Developing Country, Risk Analysis and Governance, edited by myself and my colleagues, Professor James Morris and Dennis Murphy. First of all, I would like to explain why GMO, genetically modified organism, can help solve part of the world problem before I touch on what we actually wrote in the new book. According to the UN report, the world population is projected to reach 9.8 billion by year 2050. The concentration of global population will largely remain in developing countries, including countries in Africa, with countries such as Nigeria, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia topping the list. This presents a significant challenge to 2030 agenda, like in the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals, by eradicating poverty and hunger, as well as tackling the impact of climate change. In order to feed the growing population by year 2050, the farmers, including those in Africa, we have to increase food production by 70%. A wide range of technology will play an important role towards meeting global food production. Modern biotechnology such as genetically modified organisms will help solve part of this problem. Yet, opposition persists in Europe and Africa. In Europe, GMO regulatory process is highly politicized, with decisions not based on scientific evidence. Unlike the United States, where scientific evidence forms the decision-making process to develop GMO policy. In Africa, GMO policy are largely influenced by Europeans as reflected in strict interpretation of precautionary principle under Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, which continue to undermine the application of GMO. Because of this, I felt the need to challenge the current status quo of GMO at international level. So I took the challenge upon myself by mobilizing experts around the world with my two colleagues, Professor Dennis Murphy at the University of Southwales, Dr. James Morris at the University of Leeds, by asking experts to provide cutting-edge perspectives into risk analysis and governance of GMO in order to develop effective and informed decision-making for the application of GMO in developing countries. Of course, I'm proud to be the first African scholar to lead a team of international experts around the world to publish this work. This work was published by Cambridge Press University last year. Cambridge Press University is arguably the oldest publishing house, and the summary of this book is now published in Nature Biotechnology as a correspondence. Of course, Nature Biotechnology is arguably the best journal in the field of biotechnology. The book has 4 comprehensive sections. 1, integrated risk analysis. This covers the overview of science and risk analysis method involved in decision-making in developing countries. Diversification of expertise. This looks into practical ways in which lack of expertise can be overcome in developing countries. Then the risk analysis regulatory-based system. This looks into power relation and socio-political interests and how this factor continue to undermine GMO decision-making, as well as strategy for improving GMO policy development. The last one is the case study from developing country. This provides the lesson from real-world experience and how it can inform our current thinking for the implementation of GMO policy in developing countries. Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, largely dating from 2000, is no longer fit for purpose. In fact, it's outmoded. It should be revamped, or abandoned. If not, it may affect the new plant breeding technique, such as gene editing, because there has been debate as to whether or not gene editing should be regulated like that of GMO. 2, benefit and risk analysis should go hand in hand. Benefits should not only be assessed, but it should be communicated at all levels. Capacity building activity should be designed to maximize the opportunity that will equip policymakers to move the technology forward. Last one, regional and international effort harmonization should be promoted and encouraged at the same time. There are a number of things that should be done by developing countries, but I'm going to focus on Africa. During my last study on the application of GMO, I traveled to several countries in Africa where I interacted with policymakers, scientists, and farmers on the use of GMO. One of the key findings of our study is lack of scientific expertise and poorly equipped laboratory. In that kind of situation, it's going to be very difficult for scientists in Africa to conduct comprehensive research on application of GMO. So I will say that government should invest in research and development and train their scientists in order to facilitate the application of GMO. Because if the research on GMO is conducted by the scientists in Africa, the consumer and farmer are more likely to believe the scientists, because the evidence is actually coming from their scientists as opposed to evidence coming from the developed country. So training researcher will go a long way in facilitating the adoption of GMO, and of course raising the level of awareness based on the evidence collected from the researcher within the continent will go a long way. And of course, South Africa has been doing that over the past 10 years, if not more. And of course, South Africa have the scientific capacity that is equivalent to that of developed country. That is why they've been able to use GMO successively in the past 20 years. And of course, the rest of Africa will have to do the same thing if they're going to use GMO. And of course, the policymaker need to pay attention to the advantages of GMO in terms of tackling food security, tackling food security problem, hunger, etc., etc. Of course, it could help address some of the challenges that are related to climate change. And in order for African countries to meet part of sustainable development goal, GMO should play a role. Yeah, I do believe developing countries, including those in Africa, can learn from United States because, number one, United States is the largest producer of GMO, and over 95% of corn are made up of GMO in the United States, and there is no any recorded history of death linked to GMO since they've been using GMO for the past 20 years. And I guess one of the reasons why this has been possible is because of the fact that scientific evidence form part of the decision-making process, and the policymaker trusts the scientists. And that is one of the things that should be replicated in developing country, given allowing the scientists to provide the kind of evidence that will be used in decision-making processes is key to developing GMO policy. And before that can happen, developing countries, we have to invest in research and development, particularly with regards to biotechnology development. That's very important. I guess USA has been doing a great job as far as research and development on biotechnologies is concerned. So I will urge the government official in developing countries to invest more, particularly in Africa, to invest more in research and development in order to be able to adopt GMO. I cannot cover everything on risk analysis and governance of GMO, but of course, this book has everything we've written on risk analysis and governance of GMO. Please get a copy. Thank you for listening.